Hello and welcome to the video. This is a very quick video on this new little race whoop from Hummingbird. Now Hummingbird make loads of different things. I've got lots of them on the channel. Go and check out the sub 250 gram playlist. I'll put a link down below. But this one was released a couple of days ago. Mine was a little bit late. It came on the slow boat from China rather than any other way. This is the new Hummingbird RaceSpec V2 bind and fly with Express LRS. Now I have looked at the original RaceSpec and there are a couple of differences. Now this is absolutely optimized to be as light as is humanly possible and to fly and go like stink. So it's really aimed at those pilots who are quite accomplished rather than those who are new to the hobby. And again, they do make whoops that are more designed for those who are starting out. This isn't particularly cheap either. $149 is the retail price, but if you shop around you might be able to find it a little bit cheaper. So what are the headlines for this version 2? Well, it's an F435 processor running at 216 megahertz. That means that it's actually running 8K PID and 8K gyro loops without any problem at all. No onboard USB port. I'll show you how that works in a minute. There's a little adapter that comes in the box. VTX power is now increased dramatically from the V1. It now goes up to 400 milliwatts, but it has a very precise 25 milliwatt output if that's interesting to you and you need that to comply with kind of race specs if you're racing with it. Express LRS receiver built in with an external antenna. Wi-Fi settings configuration is in here. There's also reverse plug-in protection, which is good, and bigger solder pads for things like the motors, which makes repairing a little bit easier as well, because it is using that kind of single wire where I think these are actually the ends of the windings that come out at the end of the wire. They're super thin and super small, but having slightly bigger pads means that if you do burn a motor and you need to replace it, you stand a chance. There's a new BI analog camera in this as well with increased resolution, and it's also preloaded with Betaflight 4.5.2 Race Pro setup. Now the original, when this arrived, it was the older version because it's a review unit. I did have to flash and update it. I'll show you what it looks like in a moment, but I have saved the diff all that you can have a look at if you mess yours up when you get yours. And crucially, it's only 16.5 grams. Now 16.5 grams doesn't seem like that big a deal. It's about the same weight, slightly less weight than a lot of other things. However, weight is absolutely what you want to keep down when you are flying something like a whoop, particularly if you want it to fly like stink. So if you already have the Hummingbird RaceSpec version 1, is it worthwhile upgrading? What's changed? Well, one of the big changes is the CPU has changed. So it's no longer F411 based like the original was. And if you remember, I did a video last week about the fact that iNav have ceased supporting F411. F411 CPUs are getting very long in the tooth now. This has an F435 CPU, which has a lot more horsepower. The gyro has been improved as well. On the original one, it was a BMI 270. This is an ICM 42688. ESCs have been improved as well. They're now dual end channel. This is now 18 amps per motor rather than 12 amps. And the VTX power, as I've already mentioned, has been increased to 400 milliwatts. So there's a 2500 and 400 milliwatt setting versus the 25 milliwatt only in the original version. SPI receiver this time, which I'm very happy about. I'm not particularly a fan of SPI based Express LRS receivers. 800 TVL lines on this camera versus the 600 on the version 1, and it weighs about the same. So if weight's interesting, it's not going to help you. In terms of the other specs that we haven't talked about, the motors are HMB RS0702 30,000 kV RaceSpec units. The VTX is a Smart Max with thermal regulation, so if it does overheat, it will manage itself. The antenna for the Express LRS stuff does appear to be that kind of ceramic surface mount. Not a massive fan of that, but it's fine for close-in racing, which is what you're going to be doing with this. And the other antenna on here is obviously for the VTX. Camera, again, is the BIV2, 10x10 PCB on the back. And the battery connector is an A30. It's actually compatible with BT2, and the recommended battery on this is a 300 milliamp hour 1S 3.8 volts, although I'm running it with a 280 just to keep weight down because I prefer flying these things when they're as light as possible. In terms of the Betaflight setup, well, there's nothing really to write home about. with the exception of how do you plug this thing in. Well, there is an adapter that comes in the box, and there's a little spot here on the side of the model that you push the adapter through. They're incredibly small pins, and the way you have to do it, that I would recommend anyway, is put the adapter in position first with the cable plugged into it, and then plug the other end in your computer for something like Betaflight. Now, there is wireless configuration in here. Maybe that's a better way to do it, but for old school like me, I just like to play with stuff in the configurator. But going through here, there isn't really anything that is jumping out. There is a very low CPU load for 8K gyro and 8K PID loops. The motor set up well. The on-screen display will need a bit of a tweak, but they've done a pretty good job in giving it the standard setup that most people would probably use straight out of the box. Only a couple of the little tips while we're talking about this. There is this little boot button here at the top that you need to press down as you plug it in if you want to put it into DFU mode. I flashed this with the latest version of the configuration file that I got sent from the guys at Hummingbird, and just trying to bounce it into DFU using configurator doesn't work, so you need to press that button. And to get into bind and unbind mode, you just need to plug and unplug the power 3 times, and then you can bind to it. Again, links to the diff all is down below. So what about the flying?
That went very good, small, very quick, yeah, that did. Don't think you're going to get much of a...
Okay, here we go, flyby.
Okay, we're ready. Well, you're not going to annoy the neighbours with this, are you?
Sorry?
You're not going to annoy the neighbours with this, are you?
No, it's actually very quiet, isn't it?
Yeah. Ooh, that was close to your rhythm.
This is brilliant. Yeah. It is actually immense fun. However, though, so as you're probably picking up from the audio from this flight, this is incredible fun to fly. It's hovering about 40-45% throttle, so not masses of power. You wouldn't expect that out of a 1S whoop anyway. And I'm getting 3 minutes maximum if I'm being gentle. However, this isn't designed to be flown gently. The camera, having it so far tilted up, means that to see where you're going, you have to have it really cranked over. And to be honest, this has been incredible fun. There's a lot of improvements over the first version that you can really feel when you're flying. The improved camera is very welcome, faster processor, better IMU, improved ESCs, and crucially also the ability to have higher powers on your VTXs if it's legal in the country that you are in to do that, mean that it's more versatile than the first version, and you can do the kinds of things that I've just shown you. You can actually take it outside and fly it around in your local park or through the swings, things like that. So lots of very positive things to say about this. I do like the way the quad is set up. It flies beautifully. It's dead easy to use. The only exception to that is that lack of a USB port on the side. I understand why they don't include them on things like this. It's a weight thing, but that little adapter is very fiddly. I would make sure that you have the adapter plugged into the flight controller before you plug it into the USB to avoid those pins touching anything on the flight controller that they shouldn't. But the fact that there's loads of spare props in the box, the fact that you have prop removal tools and all those other bits and pieces mean that this is fab. Unfortunately, I won't fly this as much as it needs to. A little thing like this needs to be in the hand of somebody who's going to use it and abuse it and get even more smiles out of it than I've got out of the review flying that I've done here. So I'm going to give this actual one away here on the channel. I like to keep these things to the end of these videos to reward those of you that watch the videos when they come out, and to reward those of you that not only watch the videos but watch right to the very end. So standard stuff. If you want to be in a chance to win this, like, comment and subscribe. Include the secret words Whoop and Painless 360, and I will pull the names out of the hat probably on Friday, so that gives everyone a couple of days to leave their comments. If you're looking for something that is race ready, that you can buy, bind, fly and have an amazing amount of fun with, this is definitely going to be right up your street. Nice job on the V2. Lots of nice welcome additions. That the first version was actually really good, but this is just a little bit better. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Painless 360 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.